You guys know that one annoying dude in that bizarre looking mask with like the beads on it that makes the annoying YouTube shorts and TikToks about like being red-pilled and how good it is to be like a crypto bro, high value man, but he's also not a red pillar anymore. He's like a special centrist. He's doing this really bizarre like centrist grift, and I must say, this anti-prophet guy's mask is starting to fall apart. Like, literally, as the mask slips, his mask in real life is falling apart. Which is, you know, hilarious. He uploaded this video called I Came From Poverty, and I feel like this is a perfect example of the sort of grifty persona he plays online to convince people of the sort of self-started, like, positive influence he is supposed to be.
I don't know what you want to call this, but the fact that I was raised below the poverty line and I'm sitting here in this beautiful villa in Bali is a miracle. I remembered this very distinct experience when I was like 5 years old and my parents took me to Chuck E. Cheese for my birthday. And I remember sitting there at the table and this guy brought me my slice of cheese pizza. I was sitting there eating it and watching all the kids running around and playing the games. And when I was done with that piece of pizza, I turned to my mom and asked, "Can I have some money to go play the games?" And she said, "No, we don't have money, but enjoy your pizza." And that experience had a very specific imprint on me because it taught me something very specific in my relationship to money. And that relationship with money was something that I had to spend the next 2.5 decades deprogramming inside of myself. Now, people talk about manifestation, they talk about all this woo-woo bullshit.
Wait, is he actually arguing that being miserly with your money is a bad thing if you don't have good financial prospects currently? Because I assure you, if you don't have money to go spend on games, you don't have money to go spend on games. It's just that simple.
And that relationship with money was something that I had to spend the next 2.5 decades deprogramming inside of myself. Now, people talk about manifestation, they talk about all this woo-woo bullshit.
Yeah, the funny thing as well is this is literally copying Kanye, right? Like, isn't this the exact mask that Kanye wore? Kanye, Alex Jones interview. Like, is he not literally ripping this from Kanye? No, okay, it's not the same one. But it's, like, definitely... He's trying to evoke that vibe, isn't he? I think he's just generally too much of a pussy to show his face. I think he probably doesn't want his identity associated with the stuff he says on his channel. And we're going to get to the stuff he's been saying on his channel lately that he really doesn't want his identity associated with, I'm sure.
I don't know if I entirely believe in that, but I do believe that if you put your energy towards something valuable on a daily basis, and you tell yourself the truth and tell others around you the truth, life will start to unfold in such a way where incredible things start to happen. Now,
how do you say so many words that mean nothing? What? If you put your energy, this is literally like that like insane TikTok like spiritual shit. Like, oh, be wary of those that are trying to sap your energies. Like, what is this? Yeah, it's word salad. This is just meant for like semi-spirit. This is content meant for the male version of like women who believe that like everything about you is determined based on your like astrological sign.
maybe you could call that luck, or maybe you could call it manifestation. I think all I'm saying is just continue every day to show up and do the work, and
I think you could call it manifestation. You guys know what he means when he says that, right? Manifestation is literally like fucking magical thinking, where you think if you believe in something hard enough, it will come about. Literal magical thinking. Like actual child brain shit here. What? I can kind of see his face through the mask now. I can see his eye there. That's like the shine of his eye. I can see it sticking out a little bit there. I can see his face. I can see bits of it.
Around you the truth. Life will start to unfold in such a way where incredible things start to happen. Now, maybe you could call that luck, or maybe you could call it manifestation. I think all I'm saying is just continue every day to show up and do the work, and I promise you, the rest will sort itself out.
Just continue living your life. Follow for more motivational content. Absolutely nothing is said. So that gives you a little bit of perspective in like the less overt and problematic aspects of his content. Like at best, at absolute best, this guy is just an annoying prick who makes very not valuable, not useful, word salad motivational slop, right? Sometimes he dips into red pill stuff, and lately he's been trying to play this weird centrist angle, all the while having just uploaded a video that has gone quite viral and has gotten a lot of support from his fan base called Things I Like About Fascism. So let's hear, what are some things that he likes about fascism?
The Doctrine of Fascism by Benito Mussolini. And oh no, get ready for it. There were some reasonably good ideas in it. For example, fascism encourages men to be men of action, to conquer the difficulties of life through strength and a deep spiritualism.
So no, that is not what fascism encourages men to do. What fascism does is encourages something called machismo, which is the belief that men must achieve a certain set of state-ordained sets of standards in order to be a real man, usually involving going to die in war. Pretty much going to die in war, dying in a factory, dying for the state, usually along those lines. There's absolutely nothing about fascism that wants men to be better, stronger men for the sake of men. In fact, here, we'll bring up Yep, here it is. The Cult of Action for Action's Sake. This is from Umberto Eco's, sort of deconstruction of fascism. This is sort of a mix of 2 points that he's mixing together to sort of reframe as a good thing. The Cult of Action for Action's Sake, which dictates that action is of value in itself and should be taken without intellectual reflection. This, says Eco, is connected with anti-intellectualism and irrationalism and often manifests in attacks on modern culture and science. Basically, the idea is there must always be an enemy to fight. There must always be a thing to do. There is never a point in which, a thing is okay, unless it is something that they like, of course. And then there is the machismo, which sublimates the difficult work of permanent war and heroism into the sexual sphere. Fascists thus hold both disdain for women and intolerance and condemnation of non-standard sexual habits from chastity to homosexuality. It's a combination of this idea, and of course contempt for the weak is quite common too. It's caveman brain shit. Yes, it encourages men to be active and to do things.
However, it also says that the state is the end-all be-all. I think the
Yep. Yeah, the point of weaponizing men's desire to do something that matters, because especially these days and in a more modernized world, men are given this impression that without the the natural hierarchy that these people claim exists in nature, of where men are supposed to be what's the term for it? It's the opposite of monogamy. It's it's that red pill phrase they fucking love. Why am I blanking on it right now? That women are naturally monogamous, while men are naturally hypergamous. And thus, if women are being hypergamous themselves, having a lot of partners, etc., that's actually against their nature, and they're making themselves miserable and unhappy if they do that, whether they realize it or not. But men are naturally hypergamous, which means men, whether they realize it or not, want to have as many female sexual partners as possible. And if you don't follow that natural desire, then you are not living up to the proper standard of a man. So, yeah, he's basically going to say, I like the part where it says men should do things, but I don't like the part where they say they should die for the state.
last part of that is bullshit. The state is not the great unifier. Biology is. We're entering a world where we need to seriously define what it is to be human.
What?
In contrasting ourselves to AI. Biology.
Okay, so this is just tech bro, they think the end is coming type shit. I am so scared for Gen Z that they are watching this brain rot content. I am so scared for them. I like. What do you even respond to this psychopathy with? Like, there's no. This guy's whole thing is just record 60 seconds of himself with a blank background and a mask and and like a mic, ranting about nothing, word salad, upload it with some like inspirational Sigma music in the back, and he's raking in big dough. He apparently lives in Bali in like a massive house.
Biology is the most indisputable factor in this realm. You're already seeing biology touch a nerve in other parts of society, like the trans debate, in a world of rampant individualism.
Rampant individualism. Yeah, so the right, of course, hates the idea of individualism. To be fair, I had an argument with a friend just today on this topic. I was in Discord with a friend, and we're scrolling through Reddit, and a video came up where like Ukrainian soldiers were pulling Ukrainian men out of a van that were trying to flee the country so they wouldn't have to fight against the Russians. And it's like, well, fuck Russia and their invasion. And, you know, I want there to be Ukrainians fighting, but I also don't like that they're like beating to death these guys who dared to not throw themselves at the Russian front line, you know? I don't feel like they deserve to get like beaten or killed for desertion. And my friend was like, no, fuck deserters. They deserve to die. Face the wall. And I was like, no, I don't think that like you as an individual are like beholden to giving your life for like those that happen to have inhabited the same country as you. And they, you know, me and my friend had this back and forth, and we never really came to a point of agreement because fundamentally many people, even somewhat left-leaning moderate people, kind of agree with this idea that individualism is bad, that if you aren't willing to give yourself, like your life even, to protect or make your entire society better, or at the very least, if you aren't willing to pretend or say that you would, like, let's be real, how many people would actually, who say they wouldn't desert in a situation like that, actually wouldn't, you know? Regardless, it's interesting to see how many even moderate, like left-leaning even people follow this mindset of like a man, especially, and he was specifying men, right? Like if you're an able-bodied man and you flee or become a refugee when your country gets attacked, then you deserve death. It was basically his position. And so it's like, damn, you know, like a lot of people agree with that perspective, and that is a fundamentally fascist idea. Like there are a lot of like ideas around fascism that, much like this guy, the average person just agrees with. I think a great showcase of that fact is that one Stormfront line from The Boys. People agree with what I have to say, they just don't like the word Nazi. And in a lot of cases, that's true. A lot of far-right activists and Nazis and fascists and stuff like that, if they can just trim the most overtly, recognizably fascist parts out of their rhetoric and just showcase the most flowery, sugar-coated language they can, many people, like, they will cheer for fascism. The average person agrees with fascism if you frame it the right way and you cut out the right bits of it and you cherry pick the right points. And that's a massive problem, I think. People are way more likely to disagree with small parts of left-wing ideology and need to understand it in a more all-encompassing way to agree with it as like a newcomer to left-wing ideas typically, while right-wing ideas, the less of them you know, the more appealing conservatism is. The less introduced to conservative politics you are, the more likely those politics are to convince you. It's an interesting sort of dichotomy.
Where the individual can be anything or any gender he or she wants. Conservatives, all people, start to say, hey, maybe we need to be more collectivist by making some strong definitions about gender and about biology.
So the idea behind this is that it is better for society if we do not allow people to be individuals. Like, oh, I'm trans. No, you're not. You are a man. You will always be a man. Now go work in the factories. That is what's best for society. That is essentially what he is arguing is best right now. The idea that conservatives he's outright saying basically that the right does not believe in personal individualism, that it's a poison that has been sort of caused by the left, where people believe that they are allowed to exist for themselves and not for a greater good. And what is that greater good? Whatever they tell you that greater good is. Don't question it.
So again, getting back to Mussolini's book, do I think the state is the great unifier of the 21st century? No. Do I think humanity is going to be forced to embrace something even more fundamental, such as biology, to cope with the technological advancements of the 21st century?
It is really funny, like, hearing about female biology from a guy who literally had to become a passport bro and fly to another country where I'm pretty sure prostitution is legal in order to, like, get pussy. But okay, man. Okay, I trust your takes on biology. I'm sure you know a lot about the clitoris. Anyway, if you guys like this video, please consider dropping a like. It really helps a lot, pushes my content and the algorithm out to more people. So does commenting down below as well if you guys, would like to do that too. And of course, if you want to join my fan Discord, there's a link down below in the description. And if you want to support me financially, you can always do so by subscribing, donating, or gifting a sub on my website, or supporting me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, or Patreon. And, of course, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications if you haven't already, because YouTube just won't tell you when I go live or upload any new stuff if you don't do that. So, maybe consider hitting that button. I do appreciate it.